Yo, what is going on, everyone? I appreciate y'all tuning in. I always gotta look over to check the audio to make sure that my mic not acting weird. But we got a really quick video we're gonna do. We're just gonna cover three quick stories. Y'all saw what the headline story is. We're gonna talk about uh, the Village of Dolton's board authorizing a settlement to resolve the Andrew Holmes lawsuit that was filed by uh, Fenia Dukes. So we're going to talk about that. As always, I'm Marcus here. We do attorney reactions to current events, trending news. If you get some value out of this content, I invite you to like, share, subscribe, comment. And a big shout out to everybody who watches and support. Even if you hit the dislike button, it's all good. And a shout out to the channel members. I definitely appreciate you all for the extra support. Before we jump into the actual videos, I actually want to turn back to a previous video I did because I got a comment on a video. Now, about a week ago, during the live stream, when I'm talking about all these stories, I actually made it an individual video. So I'll show you what it looked like if you want to go back and watch it. It was maybe 15, 20 minutes. But it was a story about a 8-year-old, no, a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old, I think it was, who were charged as adults for kidnap, assault, and bunch of other serious ass crimes that were committed against a 5-year-old little girl. It was probably one of the saddest stories I ever covered. Like I legit had tears in my eyes. I had to like put the video on because it was just terrible. They tried to scalp this little girl. They showed the mother of the victim talking. Now again, this is just an indictment. All of this stuff has to be factually proven. But some of the comments that were made on that video were just wild. I was actually talking to one of my partners about it. I was like, yo, and maybe this is just me, okay? I'm about as yeah, y'all may not believe this, but I'm a pretty pro-black person. I like to support black businesses. I donate money to HBCUs. When I volunteer, I like to volunteer for inner city programs. Like I'm a pretty pro-black person, but oftentimes I think it's possible for your pro-blackness to blind you from something that's common sense or patently obvious. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Before I even got to the video, I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll to the top so y'all can see what video I'm talking about. All right, it is this video right here, the dark side of childhood crimes committed by 9 and 10-year-olds. All right. So this is the video. Y'all can take a look at it if you want, but it was like I said, terrible story. 9 and 10-year-old assault, kidnap, sexual assault of a 5-year-old little girl. It was pretty terrible, awful story. But the discussion in this video circled around should they be charged as adults or not. And some people went on the kids may not be aware of the consequences of their actions. And my response, which is still my response, I'm going to stand on it, is I'm less concerned if the children who are accused of these acts were aware of their consequences, because I know for a fact they were aware that what they were doing was wrong or either causing harm. Well, how do you know that they were aware it was wrong or causing harm? Well, I think by the age of 9 and 10, people generally associate screaming, crying with uncomfort. Stop, dog, at ease. They associate it with uncomfort, pain, fear. And the report said this 5-year-old girl was screaming and crying as anyone would be who's being subjected to what they were alleged to have done. So that was my position. I'm standing on it. But I want to go down because I want to talk about this comment here. And, me and one of my partners, we were talking about this after the fact. So let's take a look at this. Let's zoom in on this comment. Let's see if we could zoom in on this comment right here. All right, so we're gonna. I didn't mean to do that. I don't want. Hold on one moment. Hey, went to my bad. I jacked it all up. Now I gotta go back to here. My bad. I'm messing up. I wanted to get to this comment real quick. Let's go to content. Let's go here. I'm gonna take y'all all behind the scenes. Let's go there. Let's close. Let's close that out. All right. Now I gotta re-add that. My bad. I messed that up. But all right. Here we are. All right. Let's see. We got it up. All right. So now let's go see if I could. Let's see if I could. Give me 1 second. Let me pull the comment up. That's why it's like that. Give me 1 second. I jacked it up. All right. Let me pull the comments up. All right. Here they go. Let me get down to the comment that I want to talk about. My bad. I'm struggle streaming. It's late. Let's see. Nothing demonic. All right. Right here. Now let's zoom in on this. Then I'm going to bring it back up so we could talk about it. Damn, so is it one? All right. There you go. That was my fault. I jacked that up. All right, so let's take a look at this comment right here by Black to Roots 979, 12 days ago. So it was almost 2 weeks when I posted this video. All right, I told y'all about the facts. Just to recap for the people new in the room. 5-year-old leftover family member's house. Somehow she gets out of the home. These are allegations. Somehow she gets out of the home unbeknownst to the adults who were supposed to be watching her. At some point, a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old, I think one was a female and one was a male, they like kidnap this girl, assault her, sexually assault her, try to scalp her, and they were charged as adults. So look at this comment. They're going to use this expletive to try to put our children away. I don't think we understand how many children touch each other, and I don't think it's as vicious and as evil as people want to claim that it is. What, bruh? Like, this, children don't know what they're doing, and there's no reason on this planet for those children to be charged as adults, period, where grown-ass men do the same thing to kids and get put on probation or get put on house arrest and get away with it. So, all right, I don't care about, I'm a compartmentalization type of guy. I can only talk about the facts that are related to this accusation, all right? I think this comment is actually crazy. Like, you can't, this is just my opinion. Y'all take it, leave it, whatever. You can't let your pro-blackness blind you from right versus wrong, moral versus immoral. Like, using your pro-blackness as blinders is one of the reasons why, like, a scammer like Jay Morrison is able to go into the black community, finesse everybody into investing in this fund, and investing millions of dollars and stealing it away from people who look like him and come from the same neighborhoods. Like I don't know. Like, I thought this was a crazy ass comment. And I don't think it's as vicious and evil as people want to claim that it is. They didn't charge these kids for adults based on no fucking evidence. Again, they're allegations. It has to be proven in court. But I seriously don't think the cops were like, let's just arrest this 9 and 10-year-old and make all of this shit up with no factual basis to prove it. So, yo, it's cool to be like I don't know, like, it's you shouldn't be so pro anything that you're blind to the obvious, you know? Like, I don't care if you're a pro-black person. I don't care if you're a MAGA person. You should not let your beliefs in an ideology blind you from the obvious facts. People do it all the time, but I thought that this comment was actually fucking ridiculous, and I wanted to just bring it up so, one, we could talk about it because it was kind of asinine in my opinion. All right, now before we get into our main story, y'all know the last time we did a live stream on a Wednesday, uh, I was, DC was under the radar. I had a bunch of stories about DC, Maryland, hey, my area, and we're going to keep it there. I want to talk about this story before we get into the main topic because I wanted to do a stream yesterday, but I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it. But this is a story about a terrible costume crime that did not go well. I was going to actually read it, but I think it's actually better to let you all see the video. So let me go ahead and cue this up. We're going to see how this is probably, again, one of the, on the scale of 1 to 10, it's a pretty dumbass crime. Let's go ahead and check this out. We're going to talk about it. We're going to rap about it. From a legal standpoint, I think it'll be a few things to discuss. More importantly, we're focusing on how stupid it is. Let's check it out.
Accused of posing as a woman to secretly Tacoma Park man accused of posing as a woman to secretly record women in gym locker rooms being held without bond tonight. Fox 5's Julie Donaldson live outside the Montgomery County Courthouse with those details tonight. Julie.
Hey, Marina. Well, the defense attorney asked the judge to consider a less restrictive option to being held without bond, arguing that while the crimes are problematic, they're not violent. But the judge, well, she disagreed with that, taking into consideration the danger of the crimes and the fact that there are 2 other pending charges in Prince George's County of similar offenses.
Okay. This individual guy decided to put on his Halloween costume, dress as a woman, go in the locker room at your local Planet Fitness, One Life Fitness, and record women in the locker room. He goes to court for his first appearance. The judge issues a no bond. Now, typically, you see a no bond when it's violent offenses, gun charges, armed robberies, attempted homicides, attempted murders, things like that. So the first question is, based on the accusations against him, and he had 2 pending charges in another county in Maryland, was the judge appropriate in giving him a no bond? To me, I think a no bond on a crime like this is fair. Now, I know y'all gonna be like, well, why? He didn't write. He wasn't in there punching the women. He didn't, do anything where he physically assaulted them. This is just, I can only speak from my experience, and I've represented low lives early on in my career and threw a lot of low lives in custody on the investigation and prosecution side. Typically, these type of offenses, when you see them in a repetitive serial nature, not all the time, but quite often, it's a criminal evolving from a more non-violent crime to something potentially more dangerous and more serious. So a lot of times you'll see crimes like this for on people's criminal record who are charged with a sexual assault or something like that. So a lot of times these type of crimes, the peeping Tom type of guys, creepy shit like that, is normally an evolution pattern where they're kind of matriculating, moving up the ranks to more serious crime. So I personally think this gentleman having a no bond for this offense and 2 similar offenses and 2 in a neighboring county, 100% don't have any issue with it. Now, let's take a look at what happened, and I want you to really pay attention to how terrible his costume was. It's just ridiculous. Since we missed the Halloween episode, so let's go ahead and talk about this.
Now, please.
This dude is fucking ridiculous. Okay, this dude is ridiculous. They clearly it looked like they had a Planet Fitness because I work out at Planet Fitness and they all got that background on the wall like that, the silver and everything. This dude on the right decided to dress up like this on the left with a COVID mask on to go with one. There's not a lot of people who wear masks in the gym. You may find 1 or 2, but generally, if I see somebody with a COVID mask on in 2025, I'm kind of looking at you sideways anyway. So it's probably drawing attention. But 2, it's just really a bad costume. He looked like Bruh Man or Martin when he tried to play Whitney Houston and he had that T-shirt made. It's actually ridiculous. This guy is, I think he's from Africa, Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't even speak English, but absolutely ridiculous crime. He deserves not to have a bond and to be sitting in custody. Normally, these type of offenses are elevating or a criminal matriculating to something more serious, just based on my experience.
First learned of the suspect on October 10th after a woman at One Life Fitness in Germantown reported a man entered the woman's locker room and recorded her in the shower. Investigators later identified the suspect as 44-year-old Chikunidi Tati of Tacoma Park, arresting him on October 9th at the Planet Fitness in White Oak. Police say that Tati was at the gym for 7 hours without working out.
Like, this is actually a terrible offense. But you at the gym, I actually used to go to that gym because it's near MMA place I used to go to. Me and my son used to go to back in the day. Like, you in the gym for 7 hours. You don't think, like, you just drawing all kinds of attention to yourself. You go to the gym, you clearly got to scan in with a membership. I know he just didn't fucking walk into the gym and didn't scan in. You got to scan in. So they physically know who you are. And when you scan in, your fucking picture pop up. So this guy is not only a creep, but he's also not smart, and he's definitely a creep.
He would then put on a wig and pretend to be a woman to enter the locker room where he would film his victims. He would then hide his disguise while leaving to avoid detection. He is now facing up to a year in jail on multiple counts of peeping Tom and visual surveillance of a private area.
One of the biggest factors that a judge is looking at when determining bond is dangerousness. So in this case, the judge determined that there was no less restrictive means to ensure the safety of the community. People need to be able to feel safe when they are at the gym showering. So this defendant will remain held without bond until trial, which will be in district court on December 15th.
All right, so I thought that story was absolutely fucking insane. It goes to show you there's some weird ass people out here. Now, I will tell you, I've actually been to that gym. Looked like it was a Planet Fitness that he was at when he took that photo. Good thing he didn't go to the Planet Fitness in my neighborhood because they'd have whooped his ass. Like, those women in there would have whooped his ass. Like, the Planet Fitness he went to is a little bit more reserved, is a little bit more diverse in nature. Nah, if he'd have went to the wrong gym in the wrong neighborhood, the minute he was in there and he'd have took a picture, they'd have whipped that African dude's ass. So, I think the judge made the right call. I think this dude is fucking screwed as he should be. He's going to go away. And it's actually weird that it's only a year. But, hey, it is what it is. He has similar charges in pending counties. So if it's similar charges, he could be looking at a year on each one. If I'm a judge, I'm like, this shit is creepy. The judge may run off if he pleads guilty or is found guilty in all of those. It's a strong possibility that instead of having all those sentences run, at one time, so he just does 1 year, they probably have those sentences run back to back to back because it's just creepy, bro. People can't go work out. Like, it's bad enough guys be creeps in the gym just off a natural, off a humble. But damn, like, you actually like going way too far with this shit. All right, now let's go ahead, take a look at our main story. I'm gonna pull the article up. It was a video out there, but it was kind of So we are going to talk about this lawsuit. Now, I want to give a little bit of background. So the background is, we've done a shitload of videos on it where I broke down the lawsuit, why the criminal investigation wouldn't be good, but why the civil side would likely be successful. Long story short, we had a Dolton board member, Andrew Holmes. They were in Vegas, where, what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. He was alleged to have assaulted the alleged victim, Miss Dukes. A police officer actually was privy to video surveillance footage of Miss Dukes and her birthday suit when he was having a conversation over the phone with Andrew Holmes. Long story short, on the criminal side, it was difficult. I talked about why it was difficult. the amount of time that elapsed. When you talk about these types of assaults, the physical evidence is everything, and there's a very finite, short period of time. White collar fraud is paperwork, is bank statements. That shit lasts longer. These types of crimes, physical assaults, like 7 to 10 days, spoilage of evidence. The body starts to heal from any trauma. Like it's just difficult to do. Not to mention that they were in state A, the offense alleged to have occurred in state B. So because of that, nothing ever really came from it from the criminal side. And I actually broke down why it was just so problematic. I talked about the things that went in her favor, the things that went not in her favor or went in Andrew Holmes' favor. But long story short, nothing came from it criminally. She did file a civil lawsuit against Andrew Holmes. There was also a wrongful termination lawsuit, I think, filed, if I'm recalling correctly. Tiffany Henyard was named in both of those lawsuits. That's the background. Let's take a look at what happened with the settlement and why her attorney was upset. Because a lot of people was like, I don't understand why he's upset, but there's an actual reason why her attorney is upset. Now it says, Dolton board prematurely settled sexual assault lawsuit, attorney says. All right, this is Miss Dukes on the left. This is her counsel on the right. Those who brought a lawsuit, let me see something real quick. All right, I just had to check something. Those who brought a lawsuit alleging sexual assault and battery by Dolton trustee Andrew Holmes says the Dolton Village Board approved the settlement agreement before both sides agreed. Now, I haven't read this article. I'm interested in what they mean by settlement agreement. Because generally a settlement agreement encompasses the full write-up, whereas the amount, the non-disclosure agreement, like it encompasses everything. But when you have municipalities, governments involved like this, sometimes the board will approve a settlement agreement or approve a settlement, but the agreement hasn't actually been hashed out. We've all voted to collectively approve a settlement to just resolve this shit. We'll figure out the terms of the settlement on the back day. So it could be one of the two. Attorney Eric White, who was representing the plaintiff, said Wednesday the village mischaracterized the status of the lawsuit that is still pending. The plaintiffs include former Village and Thornton Township employee who claims Holmes drugged and sexually assaulted her on a 2023 work trip to Vegas. The Village declined to provide details on the settlement agreement after they were approved. Interesting. So it's leaning more towards the encompassing the entire agreement, the NDA, what can be disclosed, what the amount is. They were declined to provide details of the agreement after they were approved on October 6th, saying that they had not yet been finalized or signed. Now that is not finalized or signed, I think is the other option. I think it's just they just agreed to settle it, but they haven't come up with the numbers yet, because they don't come up with the numbers by themselves. That's going to be a lot of back and forth. Trust me, I love it. I did a lot of settlements for a lot of money where I should have been in private practice so I could be rich as fuck right now. But that's a whole nother story. All right, the lawsuit names Holmes, the Village, Thornton Township, and former Dolton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard as defendants. During the Dolton meeting on October 20th, Village Attorney Michael McGrath said the board approved of a settlement agreement took people by surprise and said the case is still open. We thought we had that settled, but the plaintiff in the case backtracked, and that is not settled on behalf of the Village, McGrath said. So the plaintiff Duke's attorney is saying like, yo, everything is still pending. Why y'all signing off on anything? The attorney for the Village is saying like, yo, we thought we resolved all of this. Now you sounding like it's backtracking. What the fuck is going on? This is actually stupid that this actually even happened. White said the plaintiffs have not reviewed the terms of the settlement agreement before they went up for a vote. The former employee settlement was approved 5-0, while the settlement for the other plaintiffs a member of Henya's security detail on the trip, was approved despite Trustee Stan Brown voting no and Trustee Kiana Belcher voting present. My clients never backtracked on any settlement agreement because there was no final agreement, White said. My clients simply refused to agree on the terms you want to include as part of the settlement, which were within her lawful rights to do. White said McGrath, on behalf of the village, declined to negotiate a new settlement agreement. We were told that there would be no further offers, which in view is clearly bad faith negotiation, White said. White said the plaintiffs took issue with certain aspects of the village proposal, including that Dolton planned to pick up the ball for Thornton Township and remove Holmes and Henyard from the lawsuit. White said he is now preparing to take the case to trial, but is open to return to the bargaining table. He's not trying to take the case to that trial. So those are the facts. Okay, what happened? How did we get there? Why is this confused? All right, this is all because of piss poor communication by both sides. And if the village attorney and board members were trying to finesse something, it's stupid because the settlement agreement isn't finalized to both parties. What it looks like happened here where they were in negotiation talks, settlement discussions while litigation is pending is always private. You can't disclose what we're talking about while everything is, behind closed doors because it could potentially ruin the settlement. What it looks like, they were in negotiations. One side thought that they came to a meeting of the minds with regard to what the terms would be. The other side probably thought it was still open. The board looked like they went to go vote on it. And now this guy's like, yo, whoa, what are you doing? Now, why is her attorney upset? One, her attorney is not going to take this to trial if we know they've already agreed to a settlement in theory. It's just hasn't been agreed to by both parties. You actually have all of the leverage. So all of that, we're prepared to go to trial is all smoke and mirror talks to his client for his client. Well, why would he say those things before his client? Because right now, in this entire fact pattern, her attorney is looking worthless. I'm not saying he's worthless. I'm just saying this is how it looks. Your number one job as an attorney is to make sure that your client is aware of what is going on and what the possible potential outcomes could be. Once you get blindsided by something that you haven't conveyed to your client, you really look like a dumbass. You try to cover everything. Like when I sit down and talk to a client, I try to explain everything. I make them sign paperwork so they understand what I explain to them, so they can't come back and say ineffective assistance of counsel during my days as a defense attorney. So right now, it's more of an ego thing for him because think about it. If the board already signed off on a settlement and this guy, your attorney don't know about the settlement. He found out about it when they already agreed to it. You're going to be looking at him like a dumbass, like, yo, why do I even need you to do this if they're going to sign off on it and you had no clue what they said? I could have sat in there and talked to him about what I wanted to do on my own. And so it's a bad look for him. It damages his credibility. That's why he has this issue with it. Now, I saw a video on YouTube where somebody was like, yo, she could have just did this on his own. She don't even need him. No, she could not. We went through Miss Dukes' interview. God bless her. Those are terrible allegations. Settlements are indicative of guilt. I mean, the public doesn't believe that, but that's my position as an attorney. Settlements aren't indicative of guilt. But she could not have settled this on her own. I don't know if you all recall when she did her interview with the news, she said like, yo, I asked for like $10,000, a new car, and I was hoping I could keep my job. So she definitely could not have handled this on her own. People who try to handle settlement negotiations on their own awfully get lowballed ridiculously crazy. But that is kind of what this position is. So did the village prematurely settle the lawsuit? It's kind of a yes and no thing. Yes, they signed off to an approved settlement, but the settlement isn't finalized until it's authenticated and signed by both parties. So the only thing that's going to happen is Her attorney, even though he looks like a dumbass because he didn't see this coming and he couldn't inform his client of it, not saying he's a dumbass, I'm just saying that's how he feels like he looks. Her attorney has all the leverage in the world and he's not going to trial. He's just talking tough talk because that's his job. He needs to talk tough talk. He's going to go back to the board, work on the terms of the negotiation. At one point, I actually looked at the board meeting where they voted on this, and Andrew Holmes they called his name to actually vote. I think he voted no or something like that, which is crazy. Like, you should abstain from voting on something where you are a party to the underlying legal issue. But that's the gist of what happened. So I don't think nobody made any detrimental faults here. I think it was just a lot of miscommunication, and this attorney doesn't want to look bad in front of his client. Think about it. This dude is probably going to get, if he doesn't go to trial, he's probably going to get a third, 33.3% of whatever the settlement amount is. He definitely doesn't want to give that up or lose that. Oh, no worries. I appreciate it, Norm. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I know we got to kind of wait and see. This is like the first Tiffany Henyard Dolton video I've done in a long time. I actually might do a follow-up because that new Thornton Township supervisor over there, I don't know. I've been kind of just keeping an eye out to see, what is he doing? What does he have going on over there? And all I know, one thing for sure, two things for certain. I said it when he threw his name in the hat, and all y'all didn't believe me. I was like, he loved his community. This is where he's from. But I see that salary still high. Ain't nobody trying to do nothing for their community when they can make a couple $100,000. Man, come on now. Yeah, he just going to do it for the 50. Hell no. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Yo, that's it for this video. I just wanted to give y'all a quick update as to what's going on. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the story of the guy in the gym. Throw the book at that dude. Did not pass go. Did not collect $200. Go straight to jail. And let me know what do y'all think about this settlement. I think it's actually smart. I think the smartest thing that I can see from this, and this is from the Village standpoint, is I think settling it is the right thing to do. I think there's far too much exposure at trial. Do you really want to have a trial of jurors made up of people who live in that area, who are familiar with Tiffany Henyard and Andrew Holmes and the facts, and seeing Fenia Dukes on TV crying and shit? Hell no, you don't want to have that. So I think it's completely smart for the Village to want to settle this matter. It's smart for them to want to settle it. I think that's the right decision. It was done for them to vote on it prematurely, because now if I'm the opposing attorney, I'm like, well, shit, y'all gonna settle because y'all definitely don't want that smoke in court. So I got y'all right where I want y'all now. So whatever his number was, if it were me, I'm increasing that number. I'm gonna probably put a 2 or 3 times multiplier on it in light of these facts. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. As always, y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. Be blessed. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for the support. Y'all take care. Peace.